relationship and shouldn't be surprised by the FBI. County investigation.
Mm-hmm.
Is Trump a Russian agent? It's a question that if it walks like a duck and talks like a duck, then it is a duck. And the duck should be impeached. Maximum word. Duck should be impeached. They ain't gonna impeach Trump. They want to focus on it.
It makes you wonder what they got on him. What he got on them, rather.
Come on. They already did close.
Walaikum salam. I would be able to get this party started visually, but about 6:30, I'm gonna have to. I won't be visual because Ken closing up early tonight, so I'm gonna be moving, and I know it's gonna be dark outside, so I won't use the visual.
Okay, but you'll
So I'll be off. Yeah, I'll be on, but I'll be off mic and off camera for a minute until I get situated.
Okay. Our illustrious co-host is on, Brother Emilio.
Research.
Oh, Emilio!
Emilio!
The happiest co-host.
I started to put that tag name, the happiest co-host. like, what's your wife? Some happy juice.
Every day I always say, look, if I can swing around and put them 2 feet on the ground and stand up, hey,
that's right. That's good. Right. Yes, sir.
It's all good. It's all good.
We agrees with you. No doubt.
Absolutely.
No doubt. Good hearing from. We thought we hadn't heard from you all week. We're like, oh, okay. Well, he don't want to hang out with us no more. Huh?
Can you imagine what? It's a
say that again.
This putting this whole tour and everything together is a and the other things that I'm doing is just it's just so much. It's amazing. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
Did the date change?
So I apologize. I didn't get I haven't communicated with you through the week, but it's been a tough just getting.
Oh, not a problem. I'm just teasing with you. Understand you're making things happen. Was somebody able to? I can't do it on the. Let Shelley know that we know that he's in queue and we'll bring him up at about 6:20.
Yeah, he can hear us.
Okay.
What's your name? Well, I mean, you don't need words. You develop. Because I got words, and I had this, but I spoke that. But I can read it. And,
We're
going live. Facebook, here we go. 1, 2. Here we go. It's my time to rise. It's my time to shine. It's my time to live. It's my time to fly. It's my time. It's my time. I can see. Welcome to Master the Science of Business, WMSB Radio, where mastering the science of business is our business, because we know it's our time to shine, bringing to you live successful business owners from around the world, sharing best and worst business practices so that you and I can avoid the pitfalls that may lead to failure and benefit from the wisdom of their success. It's our time to shine, y'all. MasterTheScienceOfBusiness.com. Welcome to yet another episode. We are in week number 2. That's right, week number 2 in season 4, y'all. Oh my God, we are in season 4. It is absolutely exciting, and I'm just looking forward to the pitfalls that we're going to avoid after tonight. What are we going to learn tonight that's going to help us avoid the pitfalls? What new business partnerships is going to form as a result of listening to this show? What new businesses are going to start up? Who is going to take their business to the next level? Are we ready to move beyond the base? Are we looking forward to taking that endeavor that we have already started and move it beyond the base? Like that's that baseline, right? We taking it up, right? So we want to hear from you. You know, we coming straight out of Message to the Black Man, and on page 173, 174, the economic blueprint of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, instructing us to pool our resources. He is instructing us to pool our resources, to join forces with like minds. You know, that's figuring out that you are with an individual that is thinking on the same lines as you. They may have different skill sets than you have. You may have things that they don't have. You work together and make it a unit, a team, a partnership, and voila, you have all that you need. So we're going to take it and move it forward, Brother Jahi. We're going to bring in Brother Jahi, Mr. Communicator Muhammad. He is the human GPS fact finder. You know, you want to research something? Check with Brother Jahi. He is just awesome when it comes to finding out information and helping you to dissect that information and implement that into what it is that you want to do. He is that founder and owner of Proper Propaganda Promotions and follow our worldwide seminars and training, Brother Jahi, Mr. Communicator Muhammad.
Salam alaikum. How is it sounding? Is it coming through clear?
Your mic sound nice, Jay.
Oh, praise is due to Allah. Salam alaikum, business scientists. Welcome back to episode number 2 of this year for Mind and Money Matters live show. We're broadcasting live here from Cafe Ulu. Starting off, tonight is January the 14th. Tonight is the night that we're having a major community gathering of men. So, if you are a man, a male, 16 years or older, you can meet us.
Is it gender specific?
It's gender specific, yes. Men, a male, 16 years or older, get to your local Muhammad mosque in your city or in your town. There is one near you. We have a huge gathering of men tonight. So if you want to be around thousands of your other brothers, we're going to have a special treat from Chicago, from our national headquarters tonight. But all men are welcome to join us tonight in our FOI class. Here in Atlanta, it's 3642 Camilton Road, which is in Southwest Atlanta. You can meet us there, 7:30 p.m. tonight. And the same thing with all the other mosque and study groups. It's a national men's meeting tonight. So you can be anywhere in the country. If you need to know where your local Muhammad mosque is in your city, you can go to noi.org, find that out, or you can, I won't say call me, but I'm going to be in class at 7:30, so I won't be answering any phone calls. But ask somebody that know where the mosque is. But you want to be, there's special instructions and information. You're looking for ways to increase your economic stability. You want to be in that class. You're looking for ways to defend yourself and your family. You want to be in that class. You're looking for other brothers of like mind who are doing positive things in the community. You want to be in that class. So I just want to start out with that. Then, of course, you must get your latest issue of the Final Call newspaper. The latest issue is volume 38, number 15. And as you see on the cover, it says Young, Gifted, and Bold in 2019. It highlights some young people that we have in our community that are doing some great things. So, we don't want to believe the hype about, well, young people not doing this, not doing. No, there are some people that are doing some great things in our community, and you can read about them as well as other pertinent community issues in the Final Call newspapers. That's what I have for right now, and it's my pleasure. I see she's looks like she's driving. I hope she pull over. Pull over. About to introduce you. Can you talk and drive at the same? She throwing me gang signs. She's she.
Family.
We have Sister Sandy Buford Muhammad of Soul Wisdom International. Salam alaikum, Sister Sandy.
Walaikum salam. I'm going to be real quick. I am driving. Definitely am excited about the show tonight. A lot of things happening. Brother Jahi, I got to give you oh my God, I'm so proud of you and Brother Professor Griff. I was very impressed with your meeting at Cafe Ulu discussing the final call. My God, that was hot. That was hot. Y'all make sure y'all check out Brother Jahi on that though. Man, that was hot. I love it. But I just want to say how much I am appreciative of our co-host, Sister Shireen Muhammad. This sister, my God, she is always doing what needs to be done for Master the Science of Business, for her many businesses that she's responsible for. Every single week with our guests, y'all. She is set up like you see all of this beautiful stuff that's going on. It ain't easy. It is not easy by no stretch of the imagination. Let me say that. And she's always looking so beautiful. We love her. We appreciate her. I'm going to go ahead and bring up our beloved Sister Shireen. Right on up. Sister Shireen Muhammad.
Lord have mercy. Praise be to Allah. So I hope I can live up to all of that. I'm just excited for the opportunity to bring us all this information. I'm looking forward to avoiding the pitfalls. And the one pitfall that I have, as of course you have the information for Sister Sandy Buford Muhammad and Soul Wisdom International. She's building the human spirit through the mind of your business. So you can get that number jotted down. It's right behind me. And as I talk about more awareness now the thing that I want to talk about today is fear. Oh my God. Do you know that fear, it rationalizes deceptive intelligence? It helps us to, avoid, it helps us to, what's the word? Just prolong things. Like, if you've been trying to do something for over I don't want to put a time frame on it because some things do take time. But like, come on now. You've been working on that book for 20 years. It does not take 20 years to write a book, okay? It does not take 10 years to bake a cake. It does not. So if that's what you're trying to do, just get out there and do it. Because if you are prolonging, I'm almost certain that it's fear. I'm almost certain that it's fear. When someone asks you a question about, well, how things going? Well, what are you doing? And you feel that little tinge, the heart start beating fast or the lump start coming up in your throat. That means that you are afraid. And what do we do when we are afraid? We face fear in its space. As soon as you acknowledge that, It's fair. Let's go. Let's put on our boxing gloves and get busy. Let's do what it is that we were put on this earth to do. It's about purpose fulfillment right now. We in 2019, we are fulfilling our purpose. I'm excited to bring up our dear brother Emilio Antonio, or brother Jahir. You gonna bring him up?
You're doing a great job. Go for it.
No. I need you to, add to what I'm saying. I need you to add to what I'm saying. But this brother here, I just want to call him the happiest entrepreneur in the world. Like this dude, this brother is so excited, like all the time.
Okay.
I try to.
Okay, thank you.
I feel excited at times. I really do.
Okay. Gotta go nowhere.
Some people will refer to me as the Energizer Bunny, like I just just all amped and everything. But this brother just got this smile that just glows, okay? And Brother Jahir is going to give us some more background information on him. So when you receive him, you know exactly who you're going to be taking tips from. Now, while we're preparing for that, I want you to know that we are getting ready for agriculture, and it's coming in February. And I've been doing the research, and I am excited about the things that I've been finding out in the world of agriculture. It's coming up in February, but before then, we're going to deal with the Ministry of Information and how important it is to record your own information. Brother Jahir.
Oh, yes, you did a great job. I don't know what else I could add to this, but we are happy to have our brother Emilio Antonio Guevara of A Capitalist Conversation as our special guest co-host for the month of Ministry of Information. January is the month of Ministry of Information. Oh, I must say this. Want everyone to make sure you have your pen and pad out. Make sure you hit the share button if you're watching us via Facebook Live, because guess what? I've been put in Facebook jail again. They locked me out to the they locked me out to the end of to next week. So
that's because Brother Jahir, he gets so overzealous. And he's like, share.
Yes, because we have two dynamic. We have a special guest co-host, Brother Emilio. Then we have a very special guest tonight that is definitely a minister of information. So I wanted to make sure that people knew about these illustrious people that we have on the show tonight. But Facebook saw some of that's fine, because we're switching the platform at the beginning of February anyway. So make sure everyone goes to YouTube and subscribe to Mind and Money Matters live show on YouTube, because the first show in February we're changing to the YouTube format for our show. So this is just getting ridiculous. We don't know what it is that we said to get locked out and things like that. So that's fine. We'll just keep it pushing to another platform.
That bow tie means meeting overcome all obstacles.
Meeting overcome all obstacles in our path. So they try to be in the path. It's not a problem. But we know that those who are listening will help us put the word out and share. But our brother Emilio is a very serious and serial entrepreneur. Who's in the hair care industry, and now he is taking the knowledge that he has learned as a businessman and bringing it to the community. That's one of the things I really love about seeing him in action. He is the founder of the S.B. Fuller and Joe Dudley Foundation, which is an entrepreneurial foundation that's mission is to teach more of us the ins and outs, the nuts and bolts of entrepreneurship. And he's also the CEO of A Capitalist Conversation, which is coming to a city near you. So please welcome back our illustrious special guest co-host during the Ministry of Information Month, Brother Emilio Guevara. Salam alaikum, sir.
Walaikum salam. Thank you, sir.
Welcome back. I think we said this, Brother Emilio, and we had to call you. You did and are doing such a fantastic job as a special guest co-host. And I told you, we see your future in broadcast.
I
You're
tell
doing
you,
a great job. Thank you.
well, thank you, man. I really appreciate the opportunity. And I tell you, you know, you guys talk about me being happy. I mean, look at you guys. I mean, I better be if I'm gonna be around you guys.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it. And I gotta attribute that, brother Emilio, to my two co-hosts because I'm not always as jovial and upbeat. But I can't let them outshine me. You know what I'm saying? I can't let them outdo me. So, you're around upbeat energy. You have to match that
That,
upbeat energy,
that's right, you know. But
or
I'm excited.
match it,
I'm,
call it, and up it one.
but I really am. You know, the work that you all are doing, you know, with this show, I think is something that's absolutely needed. You know, the more of us are talking about this subject every day and in the different corners of this country and different corners of the world, you know, to our people, I think it's going to continue to make a big difference. And I'm just glad to just be, you know, someone that's, you know, just trying to make a difference in my own small way, you know, trying to make sure that this does happen, that we, you know, we continue to share with our people
Yes, sir.
aspects of free enterprise, which I believe are the ways by the ways by which we will achieve true freedom. I mean, you know, this is a capitalistic society that we live in, whether we like it or not. That's what it is, you know.
Right. Yes,
And
sir.
if we are going to prosper, you know, then we have to be able to be participant in the free enterprise system in this country, you know. And
I
so,
I agree. I agree with you. Yes, sir.
and
And you
that's
you have a big event coming up.
yeah.
Will you give us give the listening audience some information about this spectacular event that you have coming up?
Sure. So we're doing this tour. For those that, if you don't Google him, as they say, Mr. Michael V. Roberts, I would encourage you to go to Michael V. Roberts,
This is
CN.
his book. That's the book right there. I don't leave home without it now. It's like an American Express card.
That's right. You know what I mean? That's no season. A fantastic book, one of the best reads that you will read. That is a great book full of, as we're talking about, information about how to become successful in business. You know, and he's really done it very, very high levels. You know, between him and his brother, they built a company, a billion-dollar company. Uh, so we are excited about the opportunity of being able to do this 26 city tour all over this country and be able to share what is it that you need to do to be able to accomplish the goals and entrepreneurship that you want to accomplish. But let me just explain a little bit about what Capitalist Conversations is and how did it come about. You know, it came about because after myself being in conferences and putting on conferences, one of the things that you find is that you have a lot of individuals that come to the conference because the draw is normally the keynote speaker, right, Brother Jaheem? And so what happens is a lot of times you go to that conference because you really want to get a chance to hear this keynote speaker. But most of the time, the keynote speaker will speak for about 30, 40 minutes. And then, you know, what happens?
They leave.
They leave, right? You
Right,
know?
right. They leave.
And so
And you don't get a chance to speak to them.
right. And this is what you would want. You say to yourself, boy, I would really love the opportunity to sit and have a conversation with this successful businessman or businesswoman. So Capitalist Conversations was born out of the fact that what if you could have the opportunity in one day to sit and have a conversation with 3 to 4 very successful individuals and be able to have a two-way dialogue with them, ask questions, and sometimes, you know, one question that you have in your mind that nobody's been able to answer in the way that you know can help you to take yourself or your business to another level. That one question that you could get answered from a wise person that's done it, that's been through the obstacles, that's been through that journey, and can tell you this is what you need to do, you know, or could give you that perspective that will help you change and help you to be able to grow. just that one question answered can make a big difference, you know? And so what if we could get in the room with 3 to 4 individuals that would regularly be the keynote speakers at conferences?
Mm-hmm.
You know, all 3 qualified to be keynote speakers, but I get a chance to talk about entrepreneurship, about capitalism, about free enterprise, you know? And so this is what we're doing. We're excited about it. We'll be making stops all over the nation. And as we go, I'll share a little bit more throughout this session. But look us up, www.capitalistconversations.com, and you can get a chance to begin to see all the different tour stops that we'll be making. We will, on February the 23rd, we will actually have the launch party right there in Atlanta, you know, in your hometown. So you coming to where you are. You know?
All right.
You
Get the launch started right here in Atlanta. Sounds great.
It's going to be
That's on the 23rd, which is a Saturday, right?
Saturday. Be in the evening, so we'll give you more details about it. But it's going to be a beautiful event. We're going to launch the entire tour. Let everybody know what we're doing, where we're going, and you know we're going to have some. Well, you know how Atlanta does it, right? You know, nobody does it better than you guys there, right? but it's going to be exciting. So we're really looking forward to that. Then from there, we will start our dates from all the way from March in Dallas, come back to Atlanta on April the 5th. Then we're going to be going to Miami on April the 12th, Orlando April the 26th. We're going to Virginia in May. Anyway, I mean, on, you know, like they say, we will be on the grind. You know, we'll be on our grind. So we'll be.
Sounds great.
This message out. So we're excited.
We're excited, guys.
Now, Brother Emilio, did the date change to April?
Yes, we because we wanted to make sure that we had a great launch. We moved the launch to the 23rd, and we moved the date to Atlanta on April the 5th.
Okay, excellent. So this is where you would go, you all, yes, to get your tickets, the Capitalist Conversation with Michael V. Roberts.
That's it.
And you just type that in, boom, you're right there. It'll give you a little outline of the program, who's going to be there, what you will find. I'm just looking forward to being in the same room with those who is interested in hearing about this type of information. I don't know about you, but networking is extremely important to me.
And
being in that space with all those individuals who find this to be valuable is most valuable. And then to have the opportunity to hear from those who have done it and been successful. And I'm not talking about been successful making 1,000. I'm not talking about, and it's not just about making money. Money is a part of it. Yes, we have to secure, you know, luxuries, right? Good homes, friendships, and all walks of life, right? But we're in the business of saving lives. We're in the business of resurrecting the dead. And as many would say, the revolution is not free. You know, right. we have to be able to fund that. And there's those of us who have excellent programs, you know, that would assist our people, and we're seeking funding and can't find someone who can fund because not enough of us in business that are making enough money to be able to fund those programs, and we have to depend on those who don't really like us or maybe hate us, right? And so we can't get our programs funded. So these are the types of things that I'm interested in and looking forward to having an opportunity to be a part of with the Capitalist Conversation, meeting those with like minds who are interested in taking care of business, have moved beyond fear 1,001 times. And so, as we spoke about earlier, that fear, y'all.
Yes.
We want to move past that and make things happen. So that's what I'm looking for, the networking part, brother.
It's going to be exciting, you know, and that's what's going to be beautiful about the launch party, is that it'll be an opportunity for individuals to come out and really, you know, get a chance to network, and all. We invite individuals to come out and just have the opportunity to do that. But when you come to the actual event, now you know that when you're sitting next to that person sitting next to you, because we do cap. There is a cap on the number of people. It's only 100 that we are allowing per event. And the reason for that is that, in order for you to have a real conversation, a good conversation, you can't have too many more individuals than that. You know what I mean?
That's right.
So we're actually been asking individuals to submit their questions prior to the event so that we're able to prepare those questions for the individuals that will be answering those questions. We want to make sure that, we include your question and that we categorize the questions so that people can walk out of there knowing that they got what they came for. I mean, we did it. Our first event where we actually put this in place was in Charlotte, North Carolina in October of 2018.
Right,
and we actually had Dr. Joel Dudley Sr. along with Dr. Michael V. Roberts, and most will know Dr. Joel Dudley Sr. is the founder of Dudley Products, one of the most prolific and successful lines across the country. And he was our guest capitalist. And I will tell you, when people came and heard them and had an opportunity to engage in those conversations, they really walked away, with their lives changed, So we're looking forward to doing this for so many more individuals across this country.
Excellent. And we are so grateful to have the opportunity to share this moment with you, Brother Emilio. Brother Jahir, you ready to bring up our next guest? And Brother Emilio, I'm gonna let the two brothers just handle the
No. We need everybody's participation. participation. We as we've been saying, this is the month of
stationary. She look ready.
What happened?
Sandy look ready.
Oh yeah, Sandy, stay ready. But this is the month that we highlight the Ministry of Information. The Ministry of Information is the central agency which provides services that include the development of all sources for informing the public of the policies, plans, and strategies necessary for the free flow and accessibility of information essential to an informed and empowered citizenry. This includes collection, research, and dissemination of current events, history, analysis, the publication of books, pamphlets, magazines, and the use of the internet and social media. It is also responsible for the development of information systems and networks to secure internal and external communications, media program development, and management and establishment of an Office of Media Affairs and Press Secretary. So I am super excited because we, Sister Sandy, Sister Shireen, and I, we serve as the points of contact for the Ministry of Trade and Commerce. And this platform, which is part of one of our businesses, is to show the collaboration and the interconnectedness of the 9 ministries that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan advanced to us in 2005 at the 10th anniversary of the Million Man March. These are the different ministries that a nation needs in order to govern themselves. So we look for those that are not just talkers about these different ministries, but they're actually included in it. This is what they do. So with the Ministry of Information, I could not wait to reach out to my brother. I saw him. We see each other at different community events around the city of Atlanta. He's very engaged in the community. So I saw him at one of the dinners of Hosea Helps. I think it was a Christmas dinner. And I said, brother, I want you on our platform next month. He's, oh, sure. He didn't even ask me what it's about. He's, okay, sure. I'll do it. Then I went on to explain to him as what we were doing, and he graciously accepted. And the reason why I wanted our brother Shelley on the show is because he has been a staple in the Atlanta community as a talk radio show host. I mean, I listen to the brother, and he definitely is a very smart and well-researched person. I kind of, I don't want to say this, is like compare him to like Sister Shireen in the sense that when you come with a premise, you have to be able to back that premise up with actual facts. So I've seen our brother Shelley in situations where 90% of the room is maybe opposed, but he comes with the research information he has found. So it's not just emotional. It is, okay, this is what we have documented. So we're talking about information. I definitely wanted him on here. Those of you in the Atlanta area, you remember, as when I first remembered him, he was on WAOK 1380 as a radio show, talk show host, and, bringing disseminated information to the community. And then I didn't hear from him for a while, and then I guess 6 months ago maybe, and he'll give us a timeline. But I'm listening to another, because I like talk radio. I rarely listen to music now. Okay, I like talk radio and country music, but you didn't hear the country music part. Talk radio. As I listen to as much talk radio as I can, and there's a new station,
He just
relatively
wants
new
to tell
station.
stories while singing, y'all. That's it. He wants.
They do.
Country music is almost like a musical.
It's a musical and it's rap. They getting into rap now. So yeah, they tell a story. That's what I like about it. But heard one morning, had this radio on 106.7 here in Atlanta, and they talked about Shelley Wynter, the Shelley Wynter show. Like, oh, okay, Shelley is back on the scene in the Atlanta market. Now, mind you, our platform is dealing with business. So we want to talk, one of the main points is to talk about the business side of information, the business side of information. So he has been in the radio business for a long time. So I give you, this is what his publicist sent over to us. Shelley Wynter is a traditionalist and conservative who desperately wants America to return to a time when morals, values, education, and marriage were honored and cherished. He is not a Republican or a Democrat and is listed as a swing voter and vote builder. This is what he is most proud of. His heroes are Thomas Sowell of the, I forgot the organization Thomas is with, Walter Williams, Star Parker, Jack Kemp, and he has always loved and admired Donald Trump way before he became president.
We finna fight, y'all. We finna fight, right?
He said his mother loves him, so she says, but she also does not know where his opinions come from. As she says, they certainly did not come from her. He is a regular churchgoer, well, more than he used to go. Shelley is also a member of the Georgia Black Republicans Council, and Mr. Wynter is married to the former Miss Tarika Moore. He loves talking to what he calls the smartest radio audience in Atlanta every morning from 6 o'clock a.m. to 9 o'clock a.m. on the Shelley Wynter Show. So business scientists, please welcome to Mind and Money Matters live show, our brother Shelley Wynter.
Thank you, brother.
Shelley.
Thank you, brother Jaheed. Appreciate that. I'll give you $10 for that introduction.
Oh no, brother. We professional. It's $25.
$25. Sorry, it used to be 10. It used to be 10.
Yes. So on behalf of Sister Shireen and Sister Sandy and Brother Emilio, we want to thank you for taking the time out of your schedule. I know you do an early morning show.
Yeah.
So I know it's almost close to your bedtime, so you can get up early to make it to the station and get prepared to do your show. But we definitely want to thank you for being on Mind and Money Matters Live to share with the business scientists. As I said, my primary questions are focused on the business side of information. So how long have you been in the radio business, and what did you start as?
Well, I started in sales, in radio.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
I was in sales. I've been in media sales for a long time, and I pretty much God got me in talk radio from when I was on AOK. I used to call in all the time, if you don't remember that. And
yes.
And I guess because I had a different point of view, one day they asked me to do like a weekly show or an hour or a night, and then that got me on in the afternoons, and I was on in the afternoons for about a year and a half, and then I was off the radio for about 9 or 10 years.
Was it that long? I know it was quite a while, but was it that long?
Yeah, it was about that long. Yep. And then again, God reappeared. Not that he ever disappeared, but God came back and put me back on. I have a golden opportunity to be on in the mornings from 6 to 9 on 106.7 every Monday through Friday in a top 10 market like Atlanta. So he's
Right.
You know, I just hope I can do well by him and do a good job.
Wonderful. Now, I'm glad you mentioned, which I didn't know that you started out in media sales. And again, that for us, that's the focus, that's the business. So how do radio stations make money, and how does a radio program make money?
Well, a station, traditional station like ours, we're owned by a group, a radio station ownership group, and Cumulus Media, and they have salespeople, they have promotions people. Some of the stations in our cluster is OG 99 that has now a morning show. That's the old school hip hop station. They also have the Burke Show. They have a country station and a rock station, and then our station. So 5 stations. And basically a sales force goes out and gets advertisers. A lot of times it's based on ratings, but a lot of times, and particularly our station is supported by people who love the station in many cases. And you'll see that a lot. AOK is the same thing. A lot of AOK advertisers are people that just love AOK. They're making money. They're not throwing away anything, but you know, they're business owners that love the station. So essentially, any media makes money from ad sales.
Okay.
There was a time when newspapers and magazines made money from advertising sales and subscription sales. So you would subscribe to Ebony. Well, not Ebony's a bad example, but you'd subscribe to Essence. Well, the reason why I say Ebony's a bad example is because John Johnson was he was a brilliant man. One of the first sales books I ever read was his life story.
Succeeding against the odds.
Yeah, I suggest if you're in any business, people should buy that book. But he was very smart. What he did was, instead of selling subscriptions to Ebony, you would get a year subscription every time you bought a ticket to the Ebony Fashion Fair. And so when the Ebony Fashion Fair traveled across the country, it went everywhere. Mm-hmm. And so when you bought a ticket, you would get a year subscription to the Ebony. So now you're a subscriber, you're a paid subscriber. So now his numbers to an advertiser were immense. And so he got what he gave up in his subscription, where he could have made money in subscriptions. His wife made a bunch of money with the Ebony Fashion Fair. They had the Ebony makeup line.
Right.
Beautiful women. You had these beautiful women selling makeup. Everywhere they went to everywhere. Every small town, city, and you got to subscribe. So that's why whenever you went into a black household for almost 50 years, there was a copy of Ebony magazine on a coffee table. Mm-hmm. And so it was a genius. The man was an absolute genius. But you make money from selling advertising, and your advertising, a lot of people think you have to get thousands of people to get an advertiser. If you have a quality product, and people will advertise, a lot of people will buy influence. So you may not have hundreds of thousands of listeners or readers or viewers, but you might have very influential people. That's why, give you an example, CNN, Fox News, places like that, they're number 1 or number 2 or number 3 in TV news, but they don't make anywhere near the audience that a television show gets. Mm-hmm. They will still sell advertising at a premium, because the people that are watching are more valuable than, say, a mass audience of a bunch of people. So influence is good too. You can have a small audience, but have an influential audience, and you can do that too. So, but basically, media is funded through advertising. Is the simplest answer to your original question.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I feel like I'm in class. I appreciate that.
I can talk all night.
Yes, sir. That's what you get paid to do. You know, when you got into it, when you made the offer to go from the media sales side to the behind the mic side, what type of transition was that for you?
For lack of a better way of putting it, I'm at the end of the day, I'm selling myself. Whether I'm selling myself to an advertiser or selling myself to an individual listener. I'm selling my thoughts, my ideas, my presentation, the whole package, you know, to somebody. My ideas, everything, my opinion, everything. And that's everything. Mr. Roberts would say the same thing. In all his sales, he, you know, at the end of the day, he was a salesperson. You could say he was a realtor, he was a realtor, he was this. At the end of the day, he was a salesperson. As a matter of fact, Mr. Antonio, if you could please tell Mr. Roberts, who I know personally, that Shelley Wynter's back on the radio in Atlanta. Just let him know that, and he'll ask you where.
Okay.
Yeah, he used to listen to my show when I was on AOK. But I think he kind of got mad at me at the second term of Obama because I kind of got lukewarm on Obama. But you know, we hashed it out.
Okay, brother's gonna work it out. Yes, sir.
Yeah, we worked it out. But you know, really at the end of the day, I tell people whenever I speak in front of groups, particularly kids, I hear people, I'll say, a company is looking to hire salespeople, and people will say back to me who need a job, oh, I don't know how to sell, I'm not good at selling. And I have to remind everybody, everybody's a salesperson.
That's right.
You know, everybody, you go to a store to buy something.
Right.
You know, I go to McDonald's drive-through. I'm always trying to get an extra set of fries. You know, and I'm selling myself to get an extra set of fries. You know what I mean? So we're all, and I think sales also. There's another great book for people to read, Norman Vincent Peale's How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Oh, that's Dale Carnegie.
I mean, Dale Carnegie. Thank you so much. But that's a great book too because.
Yes, sir. That's a must. That's a must-have.
And at the end of the day, that book is simply telling people how to be humans to each other.
Right.
That's really it. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's what really sales is. You know, don't sell an old woman a Kirby vacuum cleaner. You know, walk away. Just, you know what I mean? You know, but be a human being to people. And I think that's really, when I talk to young people, I tell people, you sell every day. Every day.
We do. And you know, we have a sales guru on with us, brother Emilio. Yeah, you hear him in the background, amen, because he is a sales guru as well. And we let all the entrepreneurs know, as an entrepreneur, we are selling. We're selling our product and our services to a clientele. Otherwise, we're not eating. So everything we do is a sale. Yeah, and thank you for.
But more importantly, you're also selling yourself first.
Absolutely.
You know, first and foremost, because I can get usually a product and service I can get anywhere, but I'm buying the person. You know what I mean? I'm buying a relationship with the person.
So I'm glad you said that because as my co-hosts jump in here and with their questions, two things that come to mind. Sister Shireen and I were doing some research yesterday, and we come to find out that there's like 3 areas of information. You have the business information, you have medical science technology information, then you have education and training as a part of information. So we go under the banner of trade and commerce, so we're realizing we're also in the information business because all of us on the show are authors. We all have authored books and those types of things, as well as I do professional development training. Sister Shireen is an educator. Sister Sandy is in the business of educating through the healing process. So we're all these things cross-pollinate, if you will. So let me ask you this, leading up to that, with your radio program or with a radio program in general, is it part of your sales process, marketing process, to make yourself different than whatever else is out there? And I'm thinking specifically because you have a slant. Albeit there are other black conservatives, but personally, I like your slant. Your slant is more palatable. Let me put it like that than a Larry Elder or a what's his name, Jesse. That dude, them cats. Your slant is a lot more palatable. But is that part of your sales and marketing technique for your show?
One of the things I get asked that a lot. I am everything you hear me say on my radio show. I 110,000% believe. I don't make up my views. I'm not trying to be something that I'm not. I am true to who I am. This is what I believe. I'm telling you my opinion. One reason for that is an audience of listeners, particularly on radio, will feel through the radio that you're lying to them and you're playing a role. That's the first reason that I would never be that person. I can tell you a handful of white, black, left, right radio people that I can hear in their voices. They don't truly believe what it is they're saying at that moment. But I do. I can speak for myself. That's the first thing. The second thing is I am a unique voice. That's why I'm on the radio. I fancy myself a guy that can tell you why I believe Trump is a great president, while at the same time I can tell you who the 5 greatest lyricists in hip hop have been in history. And so whether you agree with
all right. Who are your 5? Who are your 5?
Rakim is number 1.
The God on the mic, yes, sir. Okay.
Rakim, body of work, the thematics, the wordplay. I got Jay as number 2. Nas number 3. Tupac number 4. And I surprisingly enough, I have Eminem number 5.
Okay.
And I have Eminem number 5 strictly from wordplay and use of language and themes. But the point is, I feel like I'm just a dude from the hood, you know what I mean, who likes Trump or who's a Republican.
Where are you from, Shelley?
Harlem, New York.
Harlem. Where in Harlem?
149th Convent.
Okay, that sounds familiar, Sister Shireen? Sister Shireen is from Harlem as well.
Yeah, I was bifurcated. Oh, absolutely. 148th Street is what you said?
149th.
149th, okay.
Up on the hill.
When I left New York, I was on 138th and what was 8th Avenue, then now Frederick Douglass.
Yes, sir.
At the time, but some of us will still say 8th Avenue, right?
Right. Well, you can only say 8th Avenue.
That's right. That's right. But when you address an envelope, you have to say FD, you know.
FD, right. But yeah, I mean, I see myself as a brand, and then I see a different voice to present conservatism to anybody listening. But I want to present conservatism in a different manner, particularly to the African American audience, because I believe if there's 2 sides to a coin, there's no reason for us all to be on one side of the coin. We should kind of equal out and be on both sides of the coin. So, right. You know, but I believe, you know, everything that I say, you know, every morning when I'm talking, that all that is my truth, you know.
Yes, sir.
Whether you agree or disagree.
Good deal. One other thing on that note, and I want my co-host to jump in here, is you have your group, the audience. You say you have the smartest audience in Atlanta. You call your group, and I notice all radio personalities do this. Number 1, you have a name for your show, and then there's a name that you address your audience by. Like we address our audience as the business scientists, because we consider those who are interested in business or going into entrepreneurship. It's a science process, it's a scientific process. You know, there's a methodology to it, to being successful. So you call your audience what, the smart kids?
That's this is ego talking now. That's someone I deem who calls in, who has a quick, succinct, very well thought out point that they make on that particular subject, whether they agree with me or not, but it's well thought out, as well, you know, it's a good point. A good point is a good point, whether you agree or disagree. And that's what I'll just say, hey, when you call back in, we tell them they're a smart kid, and that usually that gets you up to the front of the line. You don't have to wait as long when you call.
Okay.
Because our lines fill up pretty quickly.
All right, fantastic. Did you get my text message this morning?
Hold on.
Yes, Brother Jahi, we saw that text message this morning talking about you were going to jump off the line to get on another show at a certain time.
Yeah. You're going. Now, see, that's what I'm talking about. I'm all right with it, but I don't do that kind of radio, so it's okay.
Right. No, I was talking about the one about the term that you coined and that
Oh,
you need to.
Trumplican?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just I think he started a new party.
Okay.
I think he started a new party, and I think this Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is kind of moving the Democrats further to the left. I've always wanted more choices. I've never thought that two choices were enough for 3
Right.
billion people. So, I mean, quite honestly, I tell people all the time, there's a revolution going on in this country, and it's right before our very eyes, and it doesn't seem like many of us are participating in it.
Wow.
Whether you like them or not.
Right.
Yeah, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm just saying the parties are being changed right before our very eyes, and I like the changes. I like the
Okay. Fantastic. Thank you for that.
Brother
Sister
Johnny,
Sandy? Yes.
yeah, I actually have a question to our beloved brother about the support of President Trump.
Yes, ma'am.
The question I'd like to ask you is, have you noticed your listenership to be increased because of your point of view on and the party's support that you support? Have you noticed an increase or a decline in your listenership?
It's about the same. The people that listen to me, by and large, already agree. And what I'm seeing is, quite honestly, a lot of people that don't agree with me calling in to make comments, not necessarily argue, because as they'll tell you, I'm not one of those people that hangs up on you if you disagree. I don't shout you down. I want to have the conversation. So what I've seen over the last probably 3 months is I've seen a lot more liberal thinking or Democrat voting people calling in. I've always had a very strong African American male audience, and we have a very large Caucasian audience and a very large Hispanic audience. There's probably about I would say probably, I don't know, 50, 30, 25, or 50, 30, 20, white, black, Hispanic. A lot of Hispanics listening, a lot of Hispanics.
Beautiful. That is always so important. And with reference to your background, starting from the marketing end, do you still do that aspect for your show?
I use I'm old school. I've attached Instagram to my Twitter to my Facebook, but I'm on Facebook a lot, and I'm just me. I tell you how I feel. Either you gravitate towards it or you shout it down, you hate it, you don't want to listen. That's really it. I'm going after people who want to have this conversation, not necessarily white people, black people, Republicans, Democrats. I'm just going after people who want to think a little bit differently and maybe want to, hear a good conversation in the morning, be a little upbeat, funny, and stuff like that. So, I don't think in business one should necessarily target people by race or gender or anything like that. I think people should be in business to sell or provide a service to anybody that wants it.
Mm-hmm. All right, and then the last question for now, I'm sure some other things are going to come out. Do you support the President Trump now because you believe in his business practices, or do you support him because you believe in his ability to effectively run the country, or both?
I support. When he announced in 2015, I was a Rand Paul supporter. And Rand Paul was running not like a libertarian that I liked him as. He was running as a traditional Republican, which I didn't like. When Trump said when he announced he was running, that's when I was like, oh, this guy's going to win. And I knew he was going to win from day one, because the reason being is because people were tired of the same old, same old. I tell people all the time, he won because he's not them. Now, you can define them however you want to define them. I define them as the people we've always, when I say we, the American people, have always distrusted. The media, the parties, the Republicans, the Democrats, the media, the FBI, the CIA. I mean, in our own history, we know our history with intelligence communities and the defense departments and all that in this country ourselves as black people, white people have the same history with them, meaning not the elite white people, regular white people. So when he came along, we all saw him, I saw him much like a lot of other people as, you know what, he's not them. And if for no other reason, I'm giving the middle finger to them by casting a vote for him. And I like what he's doing. I agree with everything he's trying to do. I may take issue with the way he says it or some of the things, but I've not been let down. He said this is what I want to do, and he's tried to do everything he wants to do.
So I just wanted to, and you may have answered it inside of your question. So do you agree with what he does from a business standpoint, or more?
I'm not sure if I understand the business thought. You mean policy-wise?
No, as like having the experience of a businessman before he.
I like that too. Yeah, that was important too. But it was less about that. It was more when Obama. I voted for Obama twice. I made no bones about that. One of the things that I liked about Obama, besides the obvious, I was going to vote for an African American because as a conservative, I wanted to take away this crutch that racism was holding us down. So the election of a black president helped take that away. Little did I know that after 2 terms, people would believe racism was worse, but that's neither here nor there. We'll take that up on another show. But I went for change. He said he was going to go to Washington and change the culture of D.C. Well, Trump said the same thing when he says, I'm going to drain the swamp. So I saw them both as outsiders coming in to make change. So the business aspect, yeah, a successful businessman, that helps. But the government is, what he's finding out is that it's not as cut and dry as business. In business, I have an offer, you have a price, we make a deal, or we walk away from the deal. In this political game, it's like, I know what you want to do is a good idea, but you're on the other side, so we're not going to do it. And that's kind of why me and others like him, because he's not them,
Got it. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the question.
Brother Emilio, you have any questions?
Well,
if not, I do.
No, I was really listening to it, especially when he at the beginning we was talking about sales, and I think that I completely agree with what he was talking about in terms of you're gonna go into business. The number one thing that you really need to know is how to sell. I think that so many of us, are afraid of sales in our community. Most people don't even want to use the word sales. Tell somebody in our community that, if I said, hey, they said, what's your profession? And I said, I'm a professional salesperson. I mean, they would, they laugh at you. Like, what is that,
The most important position to any company. Right.
But most people don't consider that in our community to be a position of stature, in every other community they do though, but in ours they don't, and the truth about it is that's where you learn. That was the one thing that I really was really consider myself to be fortunate enough to have been under the tutelage of Dr. Joel Dudley Sr., who was mentored by S.B. Fuller, who was the first richest black man in America out of Chicago. And the one thing that they believed in was in direct sales. Those of us that came up under Dr. Dudley, my first position when I came into the company at that time was I had to go knock on doors. Mr. Dudley told me, if you want to really develop yourself, you're gonna have to go out here and you're gonna knock on these doors. You got and people gonna slam the door in your face, and you're gonna have to go on knock on the next door.
Emilio, how many doors was it? How many doors was it, Emilio?
It was 723 doors in that community, and I know because I counted them. You know what I mean?
So let me ask you this: so is that how you got your smile? Because after a while, it was like they're gonna slam that door, and I'm gonna greet them with a smile.
I don't have time to frown. I gotta keep that stuff. The door is right 2-3 steps over. You know
yes,
what I mean?
Sir, yes, sir.
and it didn't matter whether it was sleeting or snowing or hot or whatever. We kept our suits on and we knocked on them doors, you know. And I mean, and it develops, you know, character, you know, the not quit attitude, you know. And so what Mr. Wynter was just talking about as far as, you know, that, you know, you have to know how to sell. I think that every entrepreneur needs to take that advice that he just shared, you know, is that you need to know how to sell, because that's where it's all at, you know. The other things you can always get somebody to do for you, but selling your way, you have to know how to do that yourself. So, Mr. Wynter, the one question I would have for you is, you know, what would you say to these young people that are listening to you about that specific topic about how do you, you know, the importance of you know, to be in business, you know, the importance of preparing yourself in that area, you know, because apparently that's what you did. And I'll tell you this one thing, you know, I learned from my mentor was that first you learn how to sell a product and then you learn how to sell ideas. And if you, and then listening to Mr. Wynter, that's what he's doing. He's selling his ideas. So, Mr. Wynter, what would you say to these young people, these young African Americans that are coming out of college and, you know, or going from high school to college, you know, and about that specific thing that you and I both share and agree on?
Right. I first of all, I think that high schools should adopt a sales training curriculum in their high schools. I think if they, you know, if they have the money to do it, I think sales training doesn't really. It'll help you be a entrepreneur, businessman, whatever. More importantly than that, it'll help you be a good human being.
Right.
Because you're approaching people not to hustle them or to get over. You're actually approaching people in a way that humans should approach each other. How are you? Have a nice day. How is your day? And really caring about the answer. And I think that if we can teach our young people that, we'll learn a lot. I think that one of the books I read a long time, my first real sales job was in college. I sold Kirby vacuum cleaners door to door. And I bought my first car selling Kirby vacuum cleaners. And but like you,
did you buy that car from Brother Jahi? Brother Jahi was selling.
What happened?
He said he bought his first car by selling the Kirby vacuum cleaner. I said, buy that car from you.
No, unfortunately he didn't. But I also sold Kirby vacuum cleaners, so you know. I only lasted for about 3 or 4 days though. But I went through the orientation, knocked on some doors and all that good stuff.
Well, I tell you, the secret for me, I sold probably about maybe 7 vacuum cleaners from out of school June through going back to school in August. But the way I made money that summer was, when people wouldn't buy it, I just shampooed their rugs. And so I really took a job selling vacuum cleaners and really cleaned rugs for the summer and made a ton of money cleaning rugs. But the point is that I would tell young people that take a sales training class, make the effort to get hard sales training. And go into a job where you have to, like, door-to-door sales or car sales, something like that early on. Get that out of your system. Because once you learn that, you know, to accept no and keep it moving and there's no skin off your back, you're unstoppable. Because that's the hardest part for most salespeople, is hearing no for 3 days in a row and knowing on the 4th day to come back just as strong as they did on the first day. So, but that's what I would tell young people. Sales is not a profession. It's really a way of life. It's the way you should live your life, you know. Always looking for a win-win, you know, always looking for a win-win. You know what I mean? If I can help you and you can help me, let's not do business. Let's be friends. Let's have a relationship, you know.
Right. Thank you for I completely agree.
Yes, I agree with that. That's 100, as they say. That's 100 right there. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I had I wanted to get your thoughts on this, right? Because my observation of sales, speaking of sales, that in the election process, that what has happened is there has been a sale to increase the participation in the political process.
Right.
So when Obama came along, it was a sale for change with the Black and liberal community. And so, you know, Obama did a good job in selling to where people were giving their nickels and dimes and dollars and $5 and donating via Twitter or Facebook or where have you, right? And that was unprecedented. And then you had the greatest number of voters coming out of that community. And then when Trump came along, there was a push to pull the so-called forgotten Americans up into participating, a group of people who had not been participating, and now they are now in the political process. So I just thought it was a interesting strategy, if you will.
Right.
We may be caught up in looking at, or many of us be caught up in looking at this party versus this party, when the American party, if you will, like the whole scheme of things is to get more in engagement, to be more aware of everyone. So people who weren't filling out census now are, you know, people who were not engaged in the political process now are, on both sides of viewpoints. I think in terms of business, right? I think both of them is focused on business. One was more social, but at the end of the social chain is still business. The individual gets a voucher, but the businesses cash in vouchers, right? So there's still business is taking place. And then on the other side is we're gonna build a wall, which is great business. So those of you who are business owners and have a positioning in the areas of where supposed wall is being built, there's going to be a whole lot of energy being exchanged. That's currency, right? So if people have to migrate to all of these areas and now need housing, now need food, now need daycare, now need schools, all of this is business.
Right.
So for me, I just see it as, okay, let's just increase the current that's flowing from all sides of the whole pot. You know, does that make sense?
It does. Did you want me to comment on that, or?
Well, yeah, I was going to see what your thoughts were. Did you agree, disagree, or whatever?
I mean, I think I think at some point in your description of the show, it says we live, or maybe it was Mr. Antonio who says we live in a capitalist society. Mm-hmm. So because we live in a capitalist society, I think that's a true statement. But I don't see anything wrong with what you said. There are people who need vouchers to eat. Well, the people who have food should get money for the food that they're selling. If they put themselves in a position to be able to use a voucher with a different store or place, a provider, food provider, that's fine. I have no problems with that. That's a perfect win-win. A guy has something to sell. There's a group of people who can't afford it on their own. The government gives them a voucher. They take it to the guy with the food. That's a perfect situation because everyone's being helped. I think that, so I don't see any problem with that. Where I see a problem is where that loaf of bread now costs 3 times as much as it should because the person has a voucher. That's where I see it going screwy. But I'm a capitalist. I'm a true capitalist. I believe capitalism is the best way, particularly for a disenfranchised minority community who's been historically put outside the door or outside the house. Capitalism is the best economic forum for that group of people because it's a practice based solely on products and services and exchange thereof. So I don't need to be in a big house in order to sell juice, water, cars, houses, whatever it is. I don't need to have necessarily a seat at the table to conduct commerce. The Asians have shown that to be true. The new Pakistanis who are coming here have shown that to be true. Every immigrant group that has come here has shown it to be true, that you don't have to be participatory in the political process in order to do what needs to be done. I think one of the fatal mistakes that we made as a people in our history in this country was we made a decision between political power and economic power in the early 1900s. And I don't think there was ever a reason to have to make a either or decision. If anything, I think looking back, had I been, if any one of us can go back in time, I would have loved to go back in time and say, hey, look, forget the politics. Let's get this money. And then we can control the politics in our own community.
Beautiful, beautiful. I agree.
So that's what I think, now it's too late to really do that. So now what we have to do is go back to what you said, sister, and make the politics respond to the economics. And I think when we have people in our community that are in Congress, I don't care what party they're in, when they've been in Congress for 25, 30 years, there's no reason for that to happen, because there's no way you can get money out of that person, because that person has already been down that road. So I think that we've got to look at the political system as a capitalist system, and in order to reap the financial benefits from it at a local level that we should. This Gulch deal that's happening in Atlanta, there's going to be a lot of money flowing around, but we've got to be there to say, hey, this big company is going to be building this Gulch. I need tax breaks to open up a little candy store on the corner of this Gulch. I don't want to. I need a barbershop there. I don't want to pay any corporate taxes for the first 20 years, just like the builder's getting. Don't tax me at the local level, but give him a tax break for 20 years. And those companies and those businesses should, by and large, be run by people who live in the city of Atlanta. But those are things that I demand on my show. But when I say it on my show, they tell me I'm attacking black political leaders and I'm a Trump lover. So, so I get it both ways, which means I'm doing a good job on my show. But that's just, politics is capitalism, and
that's right.
Such.
There's one more response I would like to make, and that is dealing with making a decision based on the advertisement. We have been sold the idea of politics over economics. So in our so-called civil rights organizations, there's only to support civil rights and not economics. And so, yes, I would agree that we have agreed to that, but it was something that was sold to us as we speak about sales. So the purpose of this show is to encourage us to engage in business.
Right.
Set yourself up. Let's set yourself up to be able to exchange goods and services. Listen to the forecasters. Pay attention. As you see things is about to occur in your surrounding, how can you, we're taught to look for the need and then supply the need. Right. This show is supplying, inshallah, the need for us to have information, the value and power of information. It's like the people perish for the lack of knowledge. So we are given information. Take the information, expound upon it. We got these little devices. You could just find anything you want to find, but let's start businesses based on need and get in the game and take advantage of the opportunity. Like the brother said, you don't have no problem with people having, I would disagree with the fact that the price goes up because people have vouchers, because the vouchers are paid for. So
I said it shouldn't go up. I was saying it shouldn't go up.
All right, I just wanted to, I forgot about that. I just thought that was back in my mind. I just want to encourage us to get in business so that we can be now partakers and able to support ourselves. The vouchers are necessary for when you don't have, but you should not don't have, is that a double negative? For the duration of your life, right? So you take advantage of the opportunity, get on your feet, and then get in the game.
Can I give you, I know we got to go. Can I just give you two perfect examples to what you just said?
Yes, sir.
The first is marijuana, medical marijuana and hemp, this is a business that's rolling across the country. There's a ton of Georgia farmland, red clay Georgia farmland, that any group of people should be buying and getting, particularly our urban farmers. We should be pushing for legalization, at least medical marijuana, particularly here in Georgia. Medical marijuana, they just passed a law here where you can grow in the state. You don't have to go to Colorado anymore. So one of the things that we should be looking at is land grabs, land ownership. But one of the things that I see us doing is we're getting distracted with this argument about, oh, we've been arrested for selling weed. Now white people are going into business. Well, that's a distraction. We don't need to have that argument now. Let's just get into business. Let's not have this argument about where it was, what it used to be. Let's just get into business. That's the first thing. The second thing is kind of along the same lines is there's a bunch of opioid addiction money coming from the federal government. The argument again in our community as well, when crack was in our community, no one cared, now they care. Well, that's not an argument anymore. It's another distraction. We should be opening up clinics. We have a ton of doctors. We have a ton of mental health professionals. We should open up these clinics and get these businesses done, because there is a need in our community for mental health, even if you're not on drugs or have a problem with drugs. So how else do you get these businesses going except for this money that's coming down? So my point is that we, and I say we, I don't mean we as necessarily African Americans. I mean we as people that want to go into business. Like you said, there's a need there, but a lot of times people get distracted with an argument that is really not really helpful. Let's just do the business. If they're about to have medical marijuana grown in the state of Georgia, we should own land and we should be growing hemp. And that should be the argument. And we should be pushing for more and get it to the point where recreation is done. Now, if you don't agree with it, don't get into that business. I spoke at an event on vaccinations. If you don't want to get vaccines and there's a natural way of doing it, let's get into that business. Homeschooling. I talked to a parent the other day. A lot of people think homeschooling, the parent is doing everything from English, math, science, everything. Well, a lot of homeschoolers, the mother, they'll offshoot and get a math teacher for their son or daughter, or get an English teacher or a history teacher. There's opportunities there. And so there's an opportunity there to open up and farm out teachers to homeschoolers. So I think there's a lot of things going on. I'll leave you with this. I think a lot of times we get caught up in the arguments about what's going bad, as opposed to looking for opportunities to make money and that's out there. Like I said, I sold Kirby vacuum cleaners, but I made most of my money cleaning shampoo and rugs. So I could have struggled all summer not selling a vacuum cleaner, or I could have found a way to say, oh, I got a tool here, let me use it and make some money.
Okay.
That's my
I'm going to have to say something to this, though. Now, the acquisition of land, I know you threw that out there knowing that, right? The acquisition of land is definitely something that we have to do, right? We eat more food than we can ever smoke weed. So now with the marijuana, of course, on this show, being a representation of the Nation of Islam and the teaching of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad under the leadership of Honorable Ms. Lord Farrakhan, we would not promote marijuana. Right?
I agree. Okay. I would just put it out there.
Medicinal or otherwise.
I understand.
In the Holy Quran, it teaches us that the advantage is far greater than the disadvantage in the sin of intoxicants. So I want to be clear on that.
I understand.
Now, we are in the business of acquiring land for food, clothing, and shelter.
Fair enough.
That is what we need the land for. Okay, so your point is definitely well taken, and I also wanted to support you in avoiding the distractions, because we do get caught up in distractions where now we're caught up in the argument over whether he's Democrat or Republican, or is he going to do a wall or not? Is whatever that. I mean that's a distraction. We want to look at what is the actual facts. what is affecting us as a people? What kind of efforts can we make to address or assist us in that, right? And then when you mention the fact of we, you know, if we have need or we have people who have ills, and you know, as being addicted to drugs is a disease, or in at least, you know, I'm psychology, so you know, I know the DSM-4, soon be 5 or whatever, that it's now considered a disease, and so you need counseling, or you need some kind of support for that. And Sister Sandy and I both are in the field of assisting human behavior and assisting the state of the mind. So absolutely, we should be opening up clinics to help support us so that we can remove all blockers, all holders, all deniers, anything that's in our path that's getting in the way of us being successful. So thank you for sharing those thoughts at 7:29. Brother Jahi or Brother Emilio, would you have any questions?
Yes, I want to, as we close out, I want Shelley to give us your contact information for those that are watching, and they would, so they can listen to your show, what time it comes on, when you're coming on, and how you can be reached if they want to bring you into their organizations to say some, to speak. Also, just to clarify for the piece, Shelley mentioned the Gulch. The Gulch is a project that's just got approved in the city of Atlanta. It's downtown near all of the entertainment complex in downtown Atlanta, where it's a $5 billion development. A $5 billion. So I'm in total agreement with what you're saying. The viewpoint of now, let's begin to position ourselves, because the $5 billion is going to be spent. Okay, the argument about, well, you know, displacing people and things like that, but it was passed.
Right.
The resolution was passed, so it's going to happen. Now, how do we as a business, as a community, position ourselves? So you're talking about the tax breaks. That's a fantastic. Let's get the same type. Let's now organize and get those similar types of tax breaks that the large company, development company out of California, I think it's CIM, the large tax breaks that they got. So you're right in line with what we're talking about, looking for the opportunities within the challenges. Now let's look for the opportunities. And as Sister Shireen mentioned, what we're taught is to fulfill that need. Now, of course, ours is on the lines of ethical, legal, moral behavior. So there are certain things that we would not participate in. For the business person, though, you know, that's you decide what business you go into. But let's look for the opportunity. So how can one get in contact with you, Shelley?
First, I want to apologize to Sister Shireen. I was using that as an example, but I should have known better, because I'd already talked to Brother Jahi at Hosea's. I asked him what was that opinion. So I apologize for that, sister. I can be heard on the mornings, 6 to 9 a.m. every morning, Monday through Friday on 106.7. 106.7 FM, 6 to 9 in the morning. My email is Shell, Shell, Wynter, Wynter, Shell Wynter at Gmail. And you can send me. I'll speak anywhere. I'll go on anything. You know, I just like to share what I got in my head, whether people agree or disagree.
Oh, one more thing, Shelley. One more thing, Shelley, before you go, and before Emilio, I'm sure he may have a last closing question. What process do you go through to research the information for the topics that you're going to talk about? Because you're on the air 3 hours a day, so that's a lot of talking. That's a lot of things you got to know, and you set the tone as to what the subject matter is going to be for that day. So what are some of the processes you go through?
I get to the office. I get to the station about anywhere between 2:30 and 3 o'clock in the morning. Excuse me. And I pull stories, look for stories, look for the story of the biggest story of the day. I pull my sound to surround those stories, you know, little sound bites and things like that, so you can kind of get a feel for the story. But it's about 3 hours of show prep a day for the 3 hour show.
Wow.
Looking for stories and You know, looking for what I think is interesting to people. Pop culture, politics, you know, everything. Sports sometime if it's a big sports story. My thing is, what's the story that's gonna make you think differently? You know, you read the story, you hear about the story, but what I use the onion. What stories have layers of onions that can get peeled away till you get deeper and deeper and deeper and more thought provoking?
Okay. Oh, one last thing. One last thing. From your positioning and expertise in the radio field, with the advent of podcasts such as ours and these types of things, would you encourage a group of us to pool our resources to buy a terrestrial radio
I
station?
think, yeah. I think anytime you have access to airwaves, no matter whether it's TV or radio, which is where massive people still listen to the radio. Podcasts, you know, there's you know there's so many choices. So a large number of people, lots and lots of people still get in their car and listen to radio. If you had an opportunity to buy a radio station, I would strongly support it, and I would urge you to do it, because having your own information, you know, information source, you control the narrative. And once you control the narrative, you know, you can
That's it. That's it. Yes.
to do.
Yes. Controlling the narrative.
But I just hope when you do control the narrative, there's a responsibility to control it in a responsible way. Like the sister telling me that you don't do, you know what I mean? Like the whole weed thing. That's controlling the narrative in a responsible way. So I appreciate you saying that, sister.
Praise be to Allah. Thank you. Brother Emilio?
I have to say that, I mean, this has been a great session. Mr. Wynter, I've really learned a lot from you today. I tell you, I
appreciate that.
I'm an admirer, you know, and you know, I'm a capitalist like you. You know, I just believe that this is the greatest country in the world. And yes, do we have problems? Yes. Are there challenges? Yes. Can we do
That's
better?
right. That's right.
Can our political leaders be, you know, better? Yes. I mean, so many things we can improve on, but, you know, I think that that's what makes us a great country, that
Absolutely.
we can have opinions, that we can have disagreements, that we can do all those things, that we can fight, you know what I mean? And still, you know, so many countries are not even free to be able to do that, you know, that we can be on a radio show like this and we can share our opinions and we don't have to worry about, you know, anybody, you know, calling us and telling us, well, you know, you got to shut that show down right now, you know? And,
exactly.
and there are countries that you can't do that, you
That's
know?
right.
And so I you know, I'm with you, Mr. Wynter, that you know, that capitalism is, you know, I was telling when we had the session the last time, I said, you know, all the isms in the world, you know, capitalism is the only one that allows us to be able to use our imagination.
Right.
I mean, you can wake up tomorrow morning with an idea. You can go down to the Secretary of State and incorporate your company, and you can go buy whatever or create whatever you're going to create, and you can go out and sell it all in the same day. You know, I mean, if that's not freedom, you know what I'm saying? You know,
right? Exactly.
I don't know what is. So I'm just saying that. Oh, that's why I agree with you, and look forward to getting the chance to even, you know, talk to you a little bit.
I see you when you come April 5th, because y'all are going to be on my show. So
okay,
February 23rd is the launch. So I'm sure you will get that's the launch is February 23rd. Yes.
Yeah, you got to be on my show for the launch.
Okay.
Well, I'll with you before, and so we can be, you know, get on your show a couple weeks before or something.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Fantastic. Wonderful, brothers, sisters. Thank you all, business scientists. Thank you all so much for your participation. This has been an excellent dialogue in my never to be humble opinion. But I know we're over the show time, but I got one more. I know Shelley got to shut it down because he gets up real early. But for Shelley and for Emilio, Sister Shireen and I have had this discussion in the past. Capitalism, as you all talk about it, has been given has a negative connotation in some of our communities. Where did that come from? How did capitalism become evil?
Well,
Any takes on that?
I'll take a shot at it first, and then I'll let Mr. Wynter, who's our main guest, close it out. But I would say that you have two elements that, that help to make that, happen. I think that, if you go all the way back to Booker T. Washington, Booker T. Washington was a capitalist.
Right.
And if you were to go, I always tell people, do this one thing. As you say, information. Look up Booker T. Washington in Wikipedia. At the bottom of Booker T. Washington's entire history in Wikipedia, there is a footnote and a link to what was the minutes of the first meeting of the National Negro Business League that was formed in 1900 by Booker T. Washington. When you read those minutes, now keep in mind, this was 23 years, 33 or 35 years after slavery. And Black folks during that time owned more than what they own now. We were buying 50,000 acres of land a year during that time. We were the National Negro Business League was formed for the purpose of making sure that African Americans were engaged, involved, and owners of businesses in every industry that white folks would be. But somewhere down the line, when we got into the whole civil rights movement, we replaced that. And we went into the politics and all the other things first, and we lost that.
Excellent.
And so when you think about that, and you compound that with the media pushing and making stories about us in more ways outside of capitalism, about the stories of successful capitalists in our communities till this day are not told by us or others. You see what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. Yes.
And there is a portion of the media that only wants to, like Mr. Wynter was saying, the media outlets have to sell sensationalism. That's the only thing. If right now, even on YouTube, the biggest videos are the ones that have the craziest things going on. Right. So if you portray a company that's doing something that's totally irresponsible, and they're a corporation and they're a capitalist, then the people begin to believe that all corporations are like that. When in reality, if you have to look at all the corporations in the world and all the corporations that, the majority of them do great things in the community, the majority of them donate to causes. If you didn't have capitalism, you could donate to these causes, and these United Way could not be as big as it is if it were not for capitalism, for good capitalists, right? Yeah. The why could not be the why if it wasn't for good capital. As a matter of fact, the NAACP can't be the NAACP if it wasn't for good capitalism.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So I think that is where we can change that narrative. If you're an entrepreneur, look, you're a capitalism. Whether you agree, whether you don't think that you are, you automatically.
That's right.
So
engaged. Yes. Right.
So to me, it's the same thing, right? A doctor goes to school, he gets his certificate, his degree, and then he has to make an oath that he will dedicate his life to saving every life, right? But are there bad doctors?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, right?
Absolutely.
That doesn't change the fact that
we don't castigate the entire doctoral field, right?
Bad doctors, and so I would say that would be my take on that.
Good deal. All right. Shelley?
My take is simply, I think that if you want to dishearten, shorten the lifespan, cut the growth of any group of people devoid of race, color, or anything like that, take away their inspiration for production. take away their ideas of entrepreneurship, make them dependent upon others. That's why capitalism became such a negative. It didn't become just a negative for our community. It became a negative in this country. I did a story a couple months ago where the majority of millennials think socialism is better than capitalism. That's been a plan in motion for this country. That's how you control people. You take away their spirit, of getting up and making their own and working hard, and tell them you'll give it to them, and you basically can control an entire nation. Forget race or gender, just a nation. So I think that's the idea of capitalism going bad really was about a whole group of people, not necessarily a race of people. I think in our community, the leaders push this negativity of capitalism. Other leaders push this negativity of capitalism because it took away the means of the inspiration for people to do better. If you got a bunch of people who are not doing well, it's easy to control that group of people. If you have a bunch of people who are doing well, there's no reason for the NAACP or the SCLC or anything like that, because everyone's doing well. Everyone's got a small business. Everyone's working. Businessmen are hiring people. People are working. People are spending money. So you can control that group of people by taking away their inspiration. You know, one of the things I hate to hear, I hear it all the time, particularly in our churches, is you can't pull yourself up by your bootstraps if you have no boots, which to me is the most ridiculous thing to tell a group of people, because the next step is, okay, sir, if I have no boots, I'm going to make some. I'm just not going to sit around and walk around barefooted. You know what I mean? Who does that? When in the history of mankind has any group of people just walked around barefooted, waiting for someone else to give them shoes? That's pointless, you know? So capitalism, you know, it's got a dirty name, but it wasn't just directed at our people. It was directed at the entire country. Right. And the reason for that is as a means of control. We're headed towards socialism faster than you guys think, and it's not going to look good for us particularly. It's not. You 13% of the population in a socialist country, it's going to go bad for you real quick.
Oh, you didn't see what he left?
Excellent points. Thank you both for sharing that. Thank you. Closing words, Sister Shireen. Again, listen to Brother Shelley in the morning, Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. on 106.7 here in the Atlanta area. Are you all Cumulus? Are you all on iHeart? Can those that are watching outside go to iHeart and go to one of those? What's the call letters of the station again?
WYAY.
WYAY. Cumulus station on iHeart. Where Cumulus is humongous. Cumulus is what, the second largest radio property?
I'm not sure. Don't get me the line.
Yeah, they're humongous.
We're big.
Right after, they're humongous. And but Emilio, those that are listening, how can they get in contact with you to get their special invite to the pre-launch party, as well as to sign up for the Capitalist Conversation in April?
They can go to capitalistconversations.com, or they can email us at capitalismfreedom@outlook.com. That's capitalismfreedom@outlook.com. Either one of those.
Fantastic. And business scientists, thank you all so much for tuning in. Remember, go to YouTube, go to Mind and Money Matters Live Show. That's the channel, Mind and Money Matters Live Show. Like and subscribe. Subscribe right now. This show will be up by tomorrow, inshallah. It will be up on that platform, but you'll be able to see some of our most recent shows within the last 3 or 4 months that you can also take a look at, because we will be switching from the live Facebook platform to the live YouTube platform on the first show in February. I think that's February the 4th, the day after the Super Bowl. So again, thank you all for watching, for participating. And Sister Shireen or Sister Sandy, want to close us out?
Like he said, go to YouTube and Mind and Money Matters Live Show. and like and subscribe and check out our previous videos. And yes, this one will be up. I remain excited. It's beautiful. I pray that we are inspired to go into business for ourselves, to look for the forecast that's going, that whatever you're listening to the news or paying attention to your neighborhood, and look for the need and then seek to supply that need. Join forces with others. You know, I was thinking about those of us, and many of us who are making bean pies. It's about a plethora of us doing bean pies, right? If we all join forces and do, then you can purchase those ingredients wholesale or you can go straight to the manufacturers or manufacture them yourselves. That's why we're seeking to acquire land. So let's be about the business of doing for self. May Allah continue to bless us. I'm excited. Enjoy your week. Look forward to another week. Thank you so much, Brother Emilio. Thank you so much, Brother Shelley. Thank you so much, Brother Jahi, Sister Sandy.
Sister, so did I get to keep my job?
Oh yeah, oh man, you here. You are in the place to be. In the place to be. That's Mind and Money Matters live show. And I'm so looking forward to the capitalist conversation. I'm so looking forward to being in the room with great minds who have put things together. You've taught me a lot. I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot from Brother Shelley. You know, just when things happen in public, it's corrected in public. That's just what it is. So I pray that we take that in good spirit and know that where it came from is where I come from. That's my teachings, right? So I remain humble. Have a good week.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Assalamu alaikum.